and welcome here to Talk FCB to another Champions League special, as all 4 games across Tuesday and Wednesday of this week are going to be reviewed in this video. We have 17 goals to discuss over those 4 games, with Premier League sides doing very well across the 2 days, and PSG once again crumbling when it matters most. Now, when have we heard that before? Because we definitely have, and we saw it once again on the big stage tonight. So all that and more coming up today in this Champions League roundup video. And if we start first of all with the game on the Tuesday evening, Basel against Manchester City. Going into this one, it was very clear who the outright favourites were. Man City in this one, very much favourite to come out on top, and that's exactly what we saw in this game on Tuesday night. 4-0 it finished, Manchester City, and they were absolutely outstanding. But I don't think there was anything in this display that maybe we didn't expect. I think Basel in some areas were very poor, it has to be said. I think the goalkeeper on the night had a very poor day. But I think overall, City, by far the better team, of course. They scored some fantastic goals. The players they've got out on that field, absolutely fantastic this season. And they showed it once again in the Champions League. It started with İlkay Gündoğan, a very good header from a corner. Again, you'd ask questions of the goalkeeper. I think for 3 out of 4 of their goals on the night, Man City, the Basel keeper never even moved. Then there was Bernardo Silva, a player that hasn't always been a regular this season under Pep Guardiola, coming in for a Champions League game. They're showing their strength in depth. A good volley. Again, the keeper maybe could get a stronger hand at it, but there is a bit of a deflection in the build-up there with the strike. Sergio Aguero then from the edge of the box, goalkeeper doesn't move. Very good finish following on from his 4 goals at the weekend against Leicester, and that was simply in the first half. They were 3-0 up at half-time, they were cruising. Basel had a few chances on the break, Ederson was forced out a few times, and there was a few chances they had when he came out of his area, and they could have done better. They didn't really take those though, and I think on the night you sort of saw the big gulf between these two teams. Man City, the strength in depth they have, the quality they have, the brilliant coach they have, they were absolutely superb, and it's safe to say right now they are through to the quarterfinals. It's as simple as that right now. 4 away goals without replying from Basel. Gündoğan got his 2nd goal in the second half, and he was actually unlucky in this game not to complete his hat-trick, but it was absolutely brilliant and everything that we expected from Manchester City. A very comfortable win indeed. They can afford now to take their foot off the gas in the return leg at home. I wouldn't be surprised to see Pep Guardiola maybe rest a few players in that game if they got big games in the Premier League around that time, because clearly City in this one, far too dominant, far too good, and with an absolutely commanding lead from this first leg game. Man City 4, Basel 0. And then if we cross to the other game from that night, Juventus against Tottenham at the Juventus Stadium, and I have to say, this was an absolute cracker of a football match. Now I mean that in the broadest possible way, because looking at this, if you're an expert, if you're looking at it for the tactics, for the different positional points of view, maybe you wouldn't say this was art, but in terms of entertainment and quality on show in front of goal in some areas, this was an absolute masterclass. Really it was. From the moment go, Juventus came out the blocks rocket-like. They really did start the game very quickly. It was a quick goal, 2 minutes. Gonzalo Higuain, it was Miralem Pjanic from the free kick, who I thought in that first half was absolutely brilliant for Juventus when they were on top. Higuain takes it on the volley, a really good strike. Lloris gets a hand to it, but he can't keep it out. That was 1-0, and then inside 10 minutes, I believe it was the quickest brace in Champions League knockout history. Gonzalo Higuain from the penalty spot. It was Ben Davies that gave away the penalty. Higuain makes it 2-0. Now inside that opening 10 minutes, I was thinking, is this really Gonzalo Higuain? Because we've all seen Higuain for Argentina miss some very big chances at crucial times in games that really could have changed things in a lot of ways. And here, Higuain in the first 10 minutes was absolutely brilliant, doing everything you want as a centre forward. But I have to say after that, not only Higuain, he absolutely crumbled as the game went on. I'm going to come on to that. But Juventus as a whole, after they went 2-0, I have never ever seen a Juventus team capitulate, crumble, fall under the pressure like they did in this game. I was so surprised at the way they handled going 2-0 up. You would have thought that at home, they've got a fantastic crowd there, it's a brilliant atmosphere, they've usually got a very sturdy defence, and you would have thought 2-0 Juve, there is no way they're going to let this game out of their sights. But that's exactly what they did. Tottenham, credit to them, at 2-0 it would have been very easy to think, well, we've messed up here, this is not our day, this is not our year in the Champions League, but they didn't do that. They kept trying, they kept pressing, and that's the one thing that I was really impressive from Tottenham's point of view. Harry Kane was up front, of course, he got the first goal, latching onto Dele Alli's pass, he takes it round Buffon, really good finish, very calm, very cool, everything we've seen from Harry Kane this season. But it wasn't only Kane for me, the whole Tottenham team, right from the front, from Lamela to Ali, there was players there who were really getting in the faces of Juventus, and I lost count of the amount of times Jorge Giorgio Chiellini, an experienced player, a really, really good defender, he would win the ball back and then he would absolutely hammer it wherever he could. He did not care where the ball went as long as he got rid of it. And it just looked, even at 2-1 then, like Juventus were panicking. And that is not something that we associate with Juventus. I was so surprised at the way they approached this game. And they did. They let Tottenham back into it. There's no doubt about that. They could have closed this game out. Juventus sides of old would have made sure they stayed resolute, compact, and they looked anything but that. Juve on the night looked an absolute shambles. But I have to say, Higuain in that first half with a big destiny on where this result went. He could have easily ended the game for Juventus, won them the game and been the hero, but once again, in front of goal when it really mattered, Higuain letting his team down and letting Juventus down here. At 2-0, there was a really, really good chance when Juve hit Tottenham on the break. Tottenham were throwing everybody forward, trying to get a goal back in the game. They did do that eventually, of course, but just before they did get their goal, Juve broke in numbers. They were very, very quick on the break. They caught Tottenham out. They had advantage in the numbers. They squared it to Higuain. I think it was Pjanic who plays it into Higuain. He's got a chance. He's not one-on-one, but he's inside the area. The ball is bouncing. All he's got to do is finish it off, and that is 3-0 Juventus. He misses that chance. He puts it wide. A few minutes later, then Harry Kane gets the goal to get Tottenham back in the game. But even then, just before half-time, Serge Aurier brings down Douglas Costa, who went round him. He completely did him for pace. It was a clear penalty. The Serge Aurier really, really stupid to dive in like that. But again, Higuain stepping up, chance to make it a hat-trick. But once again, Higuain with a colossal chance to win the game for Juventus, but he misses the penalty. A big, big miss in a big, big moment. Going into half-time, he could have settled some nerves. He could have got them in on a 2-goal cushion. He failed to score from the spot. Lloris tips it onto the crossbar, and Higuain misses another huge chance. And in the second half, once again, it was all Tottenham. And you've only got to look at the stats. Tottenham on the night, 63% possession. They looked like the home team. Juventus never took the initiative. They never had control of this game. And Eriksen it was, who again was absolutely sensational right throughout this game. Why we have never targeted Christian Eriksen in the past, I have no idea, because he was brilliant tonight, as he has been for a number of years now for Tottenham, and he got the big goal that made it 2-2, that gave them their 2 away goals. It was from a free kick. I think Buffon has to do better. It's on his side, it's low to his right, he does get a hand to it, but he can't keep it out. But on the night for sure, Tottenham will be most happy with this result. They go back to Wembley now with 2 away goals. Juventus have completely let them back in the game. But what I would say is, this game is not over, because you would imagine when this return leg comes around, both of these teams are capable of scoring. Juventus could go there if they sort themselves out. If Allegri can get them defending properly again, they could go there and nick a 1-0, which would get them through. I would not be surprised again to see a 2-2 at Wembley, because I think these were the two teams who were going forward very, very well. They weren't that well coordinated defensively, so I wouldn't be surprised to see more goals in the second leg. But for sure, this game was absolutely superb for entertainment. And then we move on to Wednesday's action, where it kicked off in Portugal, Porto against Liverpool. And going into this one, like I said in the preview, I was expecting a much closer game, because I think Porto this season in their own league have been doing very, very well indeed. But they met Liverpool tonight, and we spoke in the preview about the attacking trio of Mane, of Salah, and also Firmino. And I did say in that video, I don't think Mane this season so far has actually hit the high notes that he can, because we saw the season before that he was absolutely unbelievable. That was before Salah, and this season Salah has stole all the headlines. Salah was on the score sheet tonight, but it really was Sadio Mane who was absolutely outstanding. A hat-trick on the night for him as Liverpool beat Porto by 5-0. Last night with Basel and City, we saw Man City get through with a 4-goal deficit. Tonight, Liverpool have actually gone to Portugal and outdone that. A really, really impressive performance from them. And it's not only the 5 goals tonight which will please Jurgen Klopp and all Liverpool fans, it's also the fact that once again they manage actually to keep a clean sheet. That's massive right now for Liverpool. We know they've got attacking talent. We know they've got a lot of quality in those areas. Firmino scoring as well. So those 3 up front really are incredible right now. But at the back as well, a clean sheet is vital for them. They go to Anfield for the return leg, knowing, to be honest, they are definitely going to be in the quarter-finals, along with Manchester City. Tottenham were doing well last night as well. Is it the emergence once again of the Premier League sides? They're doing very, very well indeed. What I would say though, of course, is Man City faced Basel. That was pretty much two teams who are nowhere near each other in terms of quality. There's a big gulf between the sides there. And I think Porto, to be honest, tonight will look at themselves and think that wasn't good enough. That was a real underperformance. We've let ourselves down. We've let our fans down. And I think we need to see the Premier League teams against a lot better opposition before we start seeing whether they're back on the scene. But what is absolutely sure is Man City and Liverpool will both be in the quarter-finals. And then, of course, we do move on to the big one, the one that was being hyped hyped up massively between Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain at the Santiago Bernabeu. Now, Real Madrid come in at this game, like we all know, low on confidence. They've had a really poor season. Everything in this game, like I said in the preview video, was set up for PSG. And the big question was, would they rise to the occasion? Would they step up? Would they really stamp their authority on this game and go out there and show that they can win this competition? And the simple answer to that on the night was no. They simply did not do it. Right from the first moment, even though they took the lead in this game, and as I'll go on with this game, there were some big lucky moments, I feel, for Real Madrid. It was still all out there for PSG to play for. It was all theirs to take, but they failed to do it once again on the big European night. Now, of course, this is two legs, so at the end of the day, as we saw last season, turnarounds can happen, but I just don't see it in this PSG team. They've got phenomenal individuals, they've got an abundance of attacking talent, but I just don't see it in their team, a collective effort. I don't see them working as a team, as a unit, as a system, and I certainly don't see in that team a winning mentality. Real Madrid got through this game tonight, as much as it hurts me, because obviously as Barcelona fans we were certainly not rooting for Real Madrid tonight. As much as it hurts tonight, they got themselves through this game with some experience and with some know-how at this stage of the Champions League. Ronaldo with 2 of the goals, one of them was a penalty kick. That was a soft one. It was a bit of contact on Cruz, but it was a soft one going down from Lo Celso. I think was very poor on the night, actually. The youngster, he's still learning the ropes, certainly not experienced at this level, and it really showed tonight. And the second goal from Cristiano Ronaldo, his luck right now is at his absolute optimum level, because it was very lucky. It went in off his knee. He didn't know anything about it. But of course, right now, Real Madrid are going to take absolutely everything that you can get. But that is the case of PSG. 10 minutes from time, they were 1-0, which, okay, they took the lead through Rabiot. That was a decent goal. They got themselves ahead. Then they were pegged back before half-time with that penalty. But at 1-0, going on to the second leg where they're at home, that was a good result. They were going there with an away goal. At home, they can make a stand. They can get through this game. But once again, they failed to see it out. They failed to make sure they defended properly and kept their concentration high. They let Ronaldo in. The goalkeeper on the night had to make several few saves, but for the goal, of course, with Ronaldo, he can do more. The centre-backs can do more. And then, even when you conceded that 2-1 goal, you can still turn that round at home. But no, they collapsed even further. They let Marcelo in down the left, which happened on numerous occasions once again. And I have to question Unai Emery tonight, midway in the second half, when once again, it was there for PSG's taking. This is a Real Madrid team right now who are not confident in the slightest. One moment against them and their fans were ready to turn against the team, against Zidane, but tonight PSG didn't take that. Unai Emery takes off Edinson Cavani. That should never have happened. You take off Cavani, he's a very, very selfless player, because you had Neymar on the left-hand side, who to me tonight didn't do a lot. He did not do a lot. He did the usual Neymar thing, and don't get me wrong, I loved him when he played for Barcelona, but watching him as an opposition fan, now somebody who's not fully behind him, you can see that he does a lot of the time slow the play down. He hangs onto the ball far, far too long. He avoids better options sometimes. There was a few occasions where he could have easily played in Cavani, but he didn't do it. The same goes for Mbappe, who I think had some very bright moments tonight. But like I said at the start of the preview here, I didn't really feel tonight like PSG were playing as a team. It was a lot of individuals. There was no real collective effort, because you think of MSN when we won the treble, they were all in cohesion. They all knew what each other were going to do, and they loved playing each other in. You know, they loved assisting each other. That is not the case in this PSG team. It's a team of stars, but it's a big team here of individual players. Tonight, Real Madrid got through it. I don't think either team were brilliant. I wouldn't be afraid to face either of these teams, to be perfectly honest, on what we saw tonight. But obviously, that second leg, it is all still to play for. But I personally, with the mentality the PSG showed tonight and the know-how of Real Madrid at this stage of the competition, I don't see them turning this right around right now. And that, for me, of course, is failure. They've spent a lot of money. They've tried to buy the biggest talents. But tonight, for sure, they have fallen massively, massively short. Real Madrid 3, PSG 1. And that, guys, is basically where we stand with the first round of last 16 games. Like I said before, guys, the Premier League teams on this match day doing very, very well indeed. Liverpool steaming their way through, Man City through as well with their scoreline against Basel. Juventus held by Tottenham. That was a good result for Spurs away from home. And PSG letting themselves down, with Real Madrid getting a very, very important win in Europe once again by virtue of, let's face it, some pretty lucky goals on the night. But leave all your thoughts down below, guys. Obviously now the attention turns to next week. Some massive games there, of course, but the one we'll be focusing on, as always, Chelsea against Barca, and I for one cannot wait. I'll see you soon, but until then, as always, Vesca El Barca.